Anne Frank and Bana Alabed, young voices in times of war. In the darkest hours of human history, it is often the smallest voices that echo the loudest across time. Two such voices belong to young girls separated by over 7 decades, yet bound by the common thread of bearing witness to the horrors of war while holding on to hope. Anne Frank, the girl behind the diary. In 1942, a 13-year-old Jewish girl named Annelies Marie Frank began documenting her life in a small checkered diary she received for her birthday. Little did she know this diary would become one of history's most powerful testimonies to human resilience. Anne was born on June 12, 1929, in Frankfurt, Germany, to Otto and Edith Frank. A bright, precocious child with expressive brown eyes and a vibrant personality, Anne loved reading, writing stories, and collecting pictures of movie stars. Her sister Margot, 4 years older, was the quiet, studious counterpart to Anne's outgoing nature. When Hitler rose to power in 1933, the Frank family fled to Amsterdam, where Otto established a business selling pectin for jam making. For a time, they lived a normal life. Anne attended the Montessori school, made friends, and enjoyed riding her bicycle along Amsterdam's canals. But normalcy shattered when Nazi Germany invaded the Netherlands in May 1940. By 1942, deportations of Jews to concentration camps had begun. On July 6, 1942, the Frank family went into hiding in a secret annex above Otto's office building at Prinsengracht 263, a space concealed behind a movable bookcase. For 761 days, Anne lived in this cramped space with 7 others. Her parents, her sister Margot, the Van Pels family, Herman, Auguste, and their son Peter, and Fritz Pfeffer, a dentist. Their survival depended on the courage of 4 non-Jewish employees who supplied them with food and news from the outside world. Miep Gies, Johannes Kleiman, Victor Kugler, and Bep Voskyle. In the annex, Anne poured her thoughts into her diary, which she named Kitty. She documented daily frustrations, like being unable to make noise during business hours or the tensions between 8 people living in confined quarters. She recorded her blossoming feelings for Peter Van Pels, her evolving relationship with her mother, and her dreams of becoming a writer or journalist. But beyond these adolescent concerns, Anne's writing revealed remarkable depth and self-awareness. On April 11, 1944, she wrote, "Who has inflicted this upon us? Who has made us Jews different from all other people? Who has allowed us to suffer so terribly up till now? It is God that has made us as we are, but it will be God, too, who will raise us up again." Despite everything, Anne retained her belief in humanity's goodness. In one of her most famous passages, written on July 15, 1944, she reflected, "In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart." Just 3 weeks later, on August 4, 1944, the secret annex was raided. Someone whose identity remains debated by historians had betrayed them. The 8 residents were arrested and sent to concentration camps. Anne and Margot were eventually transported to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, where they died of typhus in February or March 1945, just weeks before the camp's liberation. Anne was 15 years old. Of the 8 people who hid in the secret annex, only Otto Frank survived. After the war, Miep Gies, who had retrieved Anne's diary after the arrest, gave it to Otto. Recognizing its significance, Otto worked to fulfill his daughter's dream of publication. Het Achterhuis, the secret annex, was published in Dutch in 1947, followed by English editions as The Diary of a Young Girl. Today, Anne's diary has been translated into over 70 languages and sold more than 30 million copies. Her words have become a timeless testament to the human spirit's resilience and the devastating impact of prejudice and hatred. Bana Alabed, the Twitter girl from Aleppo. More than 70 years after Anne's death, another young girl began documenting her life in a war zone, this time through the modern medium of Twitter. Bana Alabed was born on June 7, 2009, in Aleppo, Syria. She lived in the eastern part of the city with her parents, Fatima and Ghassan, and her 2 younger brothers, Muhammad and Noor. Her father was a lawyer and her mother an English teacher who had studied political science and law. Before the war, Bana enjoyed a relatively normal childhood. She attended school, played with friends, and loved reading books. Her favorite color was pink, and she dreamed of becoming a teacher like her mother. But by 2016, when Bana was 7 years old, Syria had been engulfed in civil war for 5 years. Aleppo, once Syria's largest city and commercial hub, had become a battleground between government forces and various opposition groups. In September 2016, with her mother's help, Bana began tweeting in English from the handle at Alabed Bana. Her first message was simple but powerful: "I need peace." What followed was a harrowing, real-time chronicle of life under siege. Bana shared photos of bombed buildings, including her own home, which was partially destroyed in an airstrike. She posted videos of herself cowering during bombardments, reading to distract herself from the sounds of war, or speaking directly to the camera, pleading for help. "I am very afraid I will die tonight," she tweeted during intense bombing in October 2016. "This bombing will kill me now." Later that month, "Tonight we have no house. It's bombed, and I got in rubble. I saw deaths and I almost died." Between posts about bombings and destruction, Bana shared glimpses of her attempts at normalcy, reading books, doing homework with her mother, missing teeth, and caring for her brothers. These juxtapositions of childhood innocence against the backdrop of war made her account particularly poignant. Her tweets quickly gained international attention. Within months, she had hundreds of thousands of followers, including celebrities like J.K. Rowling, who sent her digital copies of the Harry Potter books after Bana tweeted about loving to read but having no access to books. Like Anne before her, Bana faced skepticism and accusations. Pro-Assad supporters claimed her account was propaganda, questioning how she could tweet during power outages or have such good English. But journalists verified her identity and circumstances, and her mother explained that they had a solar panel for electricity and that she helped Bana with her English. In December 2016, as Syrian government forces closed in on eastern Aleppo, Bana's tweets became increasingly desperate. "My name is Bana. I'm 7 years old. I am talking to the world now, live from East Aleppo. This is my last moment to either live or die." Then her account went silent, raising worldwide concern. Days later, she resurfaced, having been evacuated during a ceasefire brokered by Turkey and Russia. Footage showed Bana being carried by a rescue worker through a crowd of evacuees. The Alabed family was eventually granted Turkish citizenship and settled in Ankara. In 2017, at just 8 years old, Bana published her memoir, Dear World, A Syrian Girl's Story of War and Plea for Peace. She met with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and wrote an open letter to U.S. President Donald Trump, urging him to help Syrian children. Today, Bana continues her advocacy work. She has spoken at the United Nations and various international forums, calling for education for refugee children and an end to conflicts worldwide. In 2017, she won the Freedom Award from the Atlantic Council for raising global awareness about children's experiences in war zones. Parallel voices across time. Though separated by decades, Anne Frank and Bana Alabed share remarkable parallels. Both became accidental chroniclers of conflict during childhoods overshadowed by war. Both used the tools available to them, Anne a diary, Bana social media, to document their experiences and humanize the abstract statistics of distant conflicts. Both girls were forced from their homes, Anne into hiding, Bana into evacuation and eventual exile. Both experienced the loss of security, friends, and normalcy. Both witnessed death and destruction that no child should ever see. Yet there are profound differences in their stories. Anne wrote privately, never knowing her words would reach beyond her diary's pages. Her thoughts were published posthumously, her voice silenced by the very forces she documented. Bana, conversely, spoke directly to a global audience in real time, leveraging technology to bypass traditional media gatekeepers and appeal directly to the world's conscience. Anne's Jewish identity made her a target for systematic extermination under Nazi ideology. Bana, while caught in a brutal civil war, was not targeted for her identity, but was rather a civilian casualty in a complex geopolitical conflict. Perhaps the most significant difference lies in their fates. Anne's life ended tragically at Bergen-Belsen, her potential forever unfulfilled. Bana survived, escaping Aleppo to start a new life. This difference represents both hope and heartbreak. Proof that humanity can rescue some children from war's grip, but a reminder of our continued failure to protect all children. The world came to know Anne only after she could no longer speak for herself. We know Bana, while she still has a future ahead of her, a future shaped, like Anne's legacy, by the words she shared during her darkest hours. Both girls' testimonies challenge us to confront uncomfortable truths, that children continue to be victims of adult conflicts, that the international community often fails its most vulnerable, and that behind every statistic of war are individual lives with dreams, fears, and inextinguishable hope. Anne wrote, "How wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world." 70 years later, Bana echoed this sentiment in her memoir, "War breaks everything except hope." These young voices, bridging generations of conflict, remind us that the ultimate memorial to those lost to violence is not just remembrance, but action, creating a world where no child needs to chronicle their own survival. Their stories are both testament and challenge, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and a challenge to ensure that no more children must document their lives from the shadows of war.